Okay, so we're trying to find what x is when we have this equation here: 1 over x minus 1 over x plus 1 is equal to 4. So I've written that here. We're just trying to solve it, just trying to find what x is. And we're being asked to give the... I know what we're going to have to... I think I know what we're going to have to do. We're going to be asked to give the answer in a plus or minus b root 2. So, okay, so we've got... so what I did first of all is I multiplied both sides, basically every term, by x plus 1. So, actually, I did. I think we must have been doing this in a rush because it looks like I did a couple of steps in one go. So I'm actually going to shuffle this around a little bit. Let's just move all this to the side. Okay, so we're first of all going to times it by... Let's just times it by x, actually. Okay, just times by x. I don't know if that makes sense. Timesing by... I'll do my x's like that. That's what I'm doing. I'm timesing it by x. So the first term becomes 1. The second term becomes x over x plus 1. And the final on the other side becomes 4x. Okay, next what I'm going to do is multiply both by x plus 1. So the first term, this number 1, just becomes x plus 1. Because it's all positive and everything, these brackets don't do anything, so I'll get rid of them straight away. And when I multiply this term by x plus 1, it cancels out the one at the bottom, and so I just get x like that. And then on the other side, I get 4x, x plus 1. Let's just double check that is what we've got there. Yeah, that's what I did. So still not sure what went wrong, if anything went wrong. So what I did next is I I kind of just simplified, expanded and simplified. So we've got an x and an x here. X take away x is going to cancel out. So we have 1 is equal to 4x squared plus 4x. So that's going to be a quadratic equation. So if we rearrange it, we have 4x squared, and this is still all looking the same as what I've done here. In fact, there's no point writing that out again. That's fairly straightforward. I've just rearranged that formula there, and I got this one here. So next we, I think that was the problem. That's what I was trying to do. Now there's a clue in this question that it's asking you to give the form of a plus or minus b root 2. Now, I was trying to factorize it. The fact that they want the answer in terms of a surd tells us that we can't factorize it because the solution is not going to be a whole number. Yeah. So the solution is going to be a surd involving root 2. So what we're going to do instead, we've got two things. We could use a quadratic equation, or we could complete the square, or we could try to complete the square anyway. So let's have a go at completing the square. I have to remind myself a little bit how to do this. I think what we want to do first is take a factor of 4 out. Seems to be the most obvious thing to do, actually. So just take a factor of 4 out of this bit, and then we minus 1. Okay, and that's going to be equal to 0. Now, let's remind ourselves how we do completing the square with this little sort of diagram that I used last time I did this. If we had a square of x times x and a rectangle which is b times x, Well, in this case, b is just 1. We're just looking at the bit on the inside for the moment. So that's just 1x. We would then split this one down the middle. So you have this one here, and essentially, just to make it accurate, it doesn't really matter because it's just a diagram, but just so as you can see it a bit more easily, I'm going to make that so we can see that I've split it in the middle, right? Take this one and put that there. Now the thing that we can say about the area of this shape, they're both the same shapes, is it's going to be x squared plus bx. Okay. Now, the little shape down here is the bit that's missing. So this is why it's called completing the square. It's almost like saying it's a bit of a slightly confusing. It looks like you've got to complete the square, but it's more like you're taking into account the fact that that bit's missing. And if you remember, it's actually going to not be half, not 1 now, but it's half of 1, so half. So this little missing bit will be 1/4. So okay, sorry, I've said that in general you'd say that the area would be then x squared plus bx, but in this case it'd be x squared plus x, right? So what we can say then is that this area x squared plus x is equal to the area of this square minus the missing bit. So this is x plus half. The dimensions, it's going to be x plus a half, all squared, but apart from, we have to minus this little quarter. So that means this bit here could be rewritten as this. So what we'll do then, and we can see we're probably on the right track now because we can see we've got this quarter and it's going to cancel out with this, and we've got a half, which when we multiply it by 4 is going to produce 2. So that's a clue that we look like we're probably on the right track. So instead of writing x squared plus x, I'm going to write all of this because we've just shown that this is equal to that. So 4 multiplied by, we're going to have to use double brackets here for the moment, that, and we're going to do minus 1 is equal to 0. Next we're going to, what we're going to do next, we're going to sort of expand this out a little bit. So we've got 4x plus a half all squared minus 1, and then again we've got another minus 1 over here. So all I've done here is I've expanded out this first set of brackets. The quarter multiplied by the 4 is 1. Okay, and that's equal to 0. Okay, we're getting there now. This is definitely looks like it could work, right? Now, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it slowly. I could skip a few steps, but we've got time, so let's make sure that we get this right. I'm going to combine these two 1s, minus 1, and then I'm going to move it over to the side. So we'll have all of this is equal to 2. Okay, so let's just get rid of that and do that. Okay. Next, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Okay. I think still feel confident that we're on the right track. So we end up with this is equal to 1/2. Okay. And now we need to square root both sides. We're going to end up with root 2 here, aren't we? So if we square root the left, it just cancels out that and the brackets. And we have to square root the right, which should be that, which is the same as just 1 over root 2. So x plus a half, actually plus or minus 1 over root 2. X plus a half is equal to plus or minus 1 over root 2. And therefore, x is equal to plus or minus, well, just copy a few things here. Plus or minus 1 over root 2, and then minus a half. So that is the solution. Now, is that in the format they asked for? Hang on. Okay, they want a plus or minus root 2. Oh, yeah, so we need to rationalize the denominator. So it's a third question now. Let me just read that again. It's we have to do a plus or minus b root 2. Okay, so let's just write that format up here so we know what we're aiming for. Make my pen a bit thicker. A plus or minus b root 2. We need to rationalize this denominator. So first of all, a is going to be a negative a half, I believe. And this, we need to rationalize the denominator. So I'll just do this separately over here. So to rationalize this denominator, I'm going to multiply it by root 2 over root 2, because root 2 over root 2 is just 1. And so I'm allowed to do that. I'm not changing its value. This is the way to rationalize these kinds of surds. What happens is you end up, the top part just becomes root 2, and the bottom part becomes 2. And okay, so now we have x is equal to, I'm going to write in this format, negative a half, so that's my a, plus or minus, and I want to, so I'm going to put, it's going to be a half root 2. So there we go, we've got the format. So the a is negative a half and b is a half. Well, actually, b is a half basically. And then here's the plus or minus. So that's it, I believe. I don't think there's, we've got a couple of minutes. Maybe I can just go back over and just make sure that we've got this right. So I multiplied it by both the denominators, and it expanded it and simplified, and I got a quadratic. Now the quadratic, to solve it, we realized we couldn't factorize it, and there was a clue in the question that we had to complete the square because the answer is a third. So what I did is I had to remind myself about how to complete the square, and I showed that x plus x, which is this bit in the bracket here, is equal to x plus a half all squared minus a quarter. So where originally up here we had x plus x, instead of writing x plus x, I wrote this down because that's what x plus x is equal to. I then expanded that bit out, so as the quarter cancelled out with a 4, and then I collected the ones and put them over to the side. And then I divided both sides by 4 and square rooted both sides. So I ended up with x plus a half is equal to square root of a half, or plus or minus square root of a half. And yeah, you get that. And so yeah, that's the same as, that's just the same as what I've got earlier on. Okay. And then I wrote it out again over here. Oh, I just rearranged it. No, I don't know why I wrote it that way around. Okay. Okay, so then I had this bit up here, so I realised I needed a negative half first. And I needed to simplify, I had to rationalise this denominator, so that's how I did that. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that.